People always ask if I believe in the paranormal. You must believe in the paranormal because you research it. Well, I believe there's things out there we can't explain. Definitely. What is it that we can't explain? Well, we can't explain it, so I don't know yet. To me, there are answers that need to be answered, and proof tries to answer those questions. Is it your dead grandmother that's come back to haunt you? I don't know. Is it something caused by your own mind projecting, feelings of a haunting? I don't know. So I believe there's something out there, I don't know what, and I hope someday to explain it. I've had several experiences that I would classify as strange. Probably the scariest thing that's ever happened to me is when I was a boy, about 12 years old. I actually saw two men in my grandmother's yard sawing this big tree. And they took pieces of this tree and they were throwing it up against the shed that we were sleeping in. And the one gentleman looked at me, took off his hat, and nodded in my direction, and put the hat back on and went back to sawing the wood and disappeared. And people say, well, you must believe in ghosts then. Again, I still don't believe in ghosts, but that was really strange. I don't know how to explain it, right? That was probably the scariest. I had to go forward a few years after investigating the paranormal for quite a while to another experience that I had that I can't really explain away. And that happened in Prince Edward Island back in 2005. We were in a room where this person supposedly had a lot of activity happen to them. And we had set up a trigger object, and this trigger object was basically a mini DV case that we had drawn around, and we left the case there with the drawing around it, and it was on like a nightstand. We walked back in the room after about an hour likely, monitoring it from downstairs on the wireless cameras. And when we walked in, I was there with a psychic at the time, and we walked into the room. There were pieces of paper torn out of an address book right next to the trigger object and placed on top of the trigger object. To top it off, we had placed a lamp on the bed. The lamp was actually floating and crashed down to the floor. Now, obviously it blew my mind. I have no idea what that was. But, you know, those were two strange activities that I just can't explain away. Is it paranormal? Most people would say yes. Do I believe it's paranormal? I believe it's strange. I don't know how to classify it. In my opinion, Proof was started as a professional organization. Most of the groups that you see out there that have a website or have a Facebook page that go out on a Friday night for the fun of it, they're hobbyists. We wanted to stray away from the label of hobbyist. We're not a hobbyist. This is a serious group that we take very, very seriously. We're here to help people that are having issues with the paranormal. We're here to investigate, public places, private places, seriously, and not just for the fun of it. We're here to make it a career. And I guess that's the ultimate goal of Proof. The ultimate goal of Proof is to be known as the resource to go to for paranormal events and happenings. For me, the paranormal has always been an interest, right from watching Ghostbusters when I was 4 years old and going forward. It was always said in my hometown that my grandparents' house was haunted. So for me, that was probably the point that I wanted to start researching it. I had an experience in that house growing up, strange footprints, strange foot sounds, different things that happened in that house that made me think there must be something else out there. So that really probably sparked my interest. I was probably, no older than 10 years old when I really wanted to start exploring it. I'd find myself at the local library researching those old Time Warner books about the unexplained, pretty much anything that I could get my hands on in my small town about the paranormal I did. And it was only later in my teens that I realized that I could be more than just a hobbyist. And I actually took a program and I did a 2-year diploma course in parapsychology. So that was the point where I realized that, okay, how do I go about making this a career? And of course, it's still not a career. Hopefully one day it will be, but it started for me at a really young age and it hasn't stopped. And that's kind of been the trend. I think we're at a point now where we finally have that mesh of a team with Proof that I haven't quite had before, where this is now a team that we can make this happen and make it, take it to the next step.